Hey everybody, Luke Wham alongside Stephen Caldwell and Christian Jack. Welcome along to Footy Talks. Let's head to TFC's American base in Hartford, and Justin Morrow, TFC defender, is with us now. Justin, thanks a lot for joining us. So much to get into here on Footy Talks. Appreciate you taking the time right now. Before we dig into everything else, just in general, team had the chance to come home a little earlier in the week. Now back preparing for the game on Sunday. How's everyone feeling right now after what has been obviously a very difficult few months?
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for having me. Like you said, we were able to get back to Toronto for these past couple of days, get a nice mental refresher. It's always nice to see the family after being away for so long, bring everyone back into a good mood. And now we're back in Hartford preparing for Sunday. Everyone's excited. Everyone's ready to go.
What's it like for you, obviously, with being away from the family, just from a human point of view, rather than that of an athlete, and just over the course of the last however many months it's been, all of that time you're spending on the road, how do you cope with that?
Yeah, I think it's an underwritten story about what the Canadian teams have had to endure this season, to go down and leave our families and be away from home so much, and what we're dealing with. But where we're at right now at the end of the season, like you said, playing for 3 trophies, it's a testament to our whole club, from management, ownership, all the way down to the players, doing a fantastic job dealing with the circumstances, the club putting us in the best position to win, and the players going through a lot of emotional stress to be able to perform week in, week out on the field and still get results.
Justin, on that note, let me ask you a little bit about life balance, because Thierry Henry and a few other people from the Whitecaps have told us recently that the hardest thing for them was that when they're on the road and they lose a game or things don't go well, it's just 100% soccer consuming their lives the entire time, because they just go back to their room and they haven't got the family to distract them. I know, obviously, there's been a bit different this right now with the US election going on, and there's a lot of other things that could be provided as distraction, but you've done a fantastic job as well with the Black Players for Change. How's the life balance been for you during this whole time, even when you've been away from your family?
Yeah, I think that's spot on. The hardest part is that it's different than being in a preseason or in a tournament where you can go out and find some other outlets. Like, it's literally, we're here, we're at the hotel, we have all of our meals together, we go out to training together, we go to the games together, but guys aren't venturing out of the hotel very much. So you're spending hours on top of hours in the hotel. The club has done a really good job to have some activities for us in the hotel, different games. Guys get together, play video games, play poker and whatnot. But after weeks and weeks of doing that, it gets old, and so it's hard to find that balance. Myself, dealing with a lot of the stuff going on with Black Players for Change, the election, there's lots of current events right now that are keeping me busy off the field as well. So I've been able to find a good balance personally.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about that, please, Justin. The coalition you set up, Black Players for Change, the successes that you've had so far, maybe some things that are planned moving forward. But you guys have mobilised so quickly. You've got a great group of people behind you, and you've got some fantastic support. But some of your campaigns so far, to me, have been so inspiring and so quickly brought together. It's absolutely incredible, and credit must go to you and the rest of the people involved.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been an absolute whirlwind to get to the point where we are today. Like you said, things just moving so fast, flying by the seat of our pants. Credit to all of our team, all of our guys that are putting in the work. We're jumping on Zoom calls routinely. We're sorting out things. A lot of what we've done up until this point has been for recognition, acknowledgement, awareness of the problems. So whether that's in-game protests, not playing the moment we took with the rest of the professional sports world to pause on August 26th and not play those games and stand up and make a statement after what happened in Kenosha. You see the Black Lives Matter t-shirt that we've done. A lot of that stuff has just been acknowledgement. And now, as an organization, we're starting to move into the programming and the initiative and getting into the things that we're going to be doing for the future. And the future existence of this organization to make the change that we've talked about. So we've started with mobilizing our fans and engaging our fans to get involved in the election that's happening right now. And further beyond that, we're starting to develop programs and initiatives that will happen in local markets. I've been speaking to the club a lot at Toronto FC to make sure that we're doing the right things, and the leadership has been fantastic here, with Larry and Ali and Masai and Pinball being such a big leadership group in terms of professional sports in North America on this topic. So we're starting to do the right things in Toronto and making sure that we're doing that as well in local markets outside of Toronto.
I know you don't do any of it for the recognition for yourself, but you are nominated for MLS Works Humanitarian of the Year this year as Toronto FC's nomination for the work that you've done as the Executive Director of Black Players for Change, also the work that you've done in terms of the voting. And in the past as well in Toronto, you've had your summer reading schools, that sort of thing that you've done. Athletes don't have to care. They don't have to show they care. But you do, and you go above and beyond. Has that always been something that has been within you in terms of wanting to use a platform for good? Or is that something that's grown the last few years? Where does that come from, Justin, within you?
Yeah, I think it comes from my humble beginnings. Born and raised not too far away from Toronto and Cleveland, in a working class city, to working class parents that provided me all the opportunities to get to where I am today, but worked really hard to give me those opportunities. And with that came good education, a religious upbringing that meant that I was going to give more of myself than what was needed or asked for. And me putting that positivity out in the world is me envisioning the change that I talk about now that I want to see, and hope that we can embody as a greater people, because that's really what our world is needing at this moment.
And Justin, is it driven also, coming back to your point you were saying before about acknowledgement and the wonderful fast work that you guys have done, is it also driven for people of the next generation within MLS as well? Because when I speak to people like in the past, Jeremy Obobasi and Mark Anthony Kay, I know that that's come up quickly. It's hard for young players, and I know you're still, you won't necessarily class yourself as a young player, but you're still very much a young man. It's sometimes hard for people to think other than themselves. But what's really hit me is that you guys are already thinking about players who are young boys right now, who are not even in MLS, and what can help, how this is going to help them going forward as we're making a change, not just for this generation, but forever and past generations when we're not even here.
Absolutely. Our platform is very large. We know that, and we carry that responsibility really well, and we wear that on our sleeve every day. And we want to create access to the game for our Black community that is excluded because of the pay-to-play model. We want to make sure that there's more Black head coaches, more Black executives. But what you're talking about, being the organization that fights for the future generation, we're at the forefront of that, doing that inside Major League Soccer and outside Major League Soccer as well, what we're starting to do in the local communities and the local markets. So that's something that's always on our mind. The majority of us grew up and raised in North America, knowing the challenges that young Black boys and girls face to get to where we are today. We want to make sure that we're guiding them and opening up opportunities, giving them all the tools that they need to succeed on and off the field, so that, like you're saying, in the future, we can have equal representation in the sport.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely incredible. And I know you're a guy that's supported me in so many things, Justin, whether it be visiting, an underprivileged area for a reading thing, or being a support for a cancer charity. You're always there, and you're always willing to give your time and your brain and your expertise and your profile to anything that's of value. And I think that's phenomenal. It's a great part of what makes you a brilliant guy. But I want to pivot a little bit and talk about on the field. And you're obviously injured right now. How are you feeling about that? How excited are you for the playoffs? And it's one thing doing all these things, but you're a guy that loves football, and I suppose you want to be back out there playing the game that you love.
Absolutely. Dying to not be out there with my guys fighting at the end of the day. But to be honest, we've all done such an incredible job to get to this point. I'm so excited for Sunday. I know we're going to put an amazing effort out there and see where everything lies. But to be at this moment is just really incredible after everything that's happened in 2020. And my stuff personally aside, I'm just really proud of this club and where we're at and how we're showing up, because I just don't know how some of these guys are doing it. And we've continued to rise to the occasion again and again. And hopefully we can do it again on Sunday and beyond that as well.
How much of it is down to the experienced core that you have at the club and the players that have been through, I mean, never situations like this before, but you've been together as a group now for a long time. Does that help when you have to face these challenges?
Absolutely. It's a big strength of ours. And I think even more importantly than that, you see when guys have to come in and do a job, they're able to do it. They're able to fit in pretty seamlessly. A lot of guys have success within our team because of that structure that you're talking about, the understanding that the players have with each other and the way that we want to play. I think Greg and the coaching staff do an amazing job of really creating a philosophy of play here that's evident in our results, evident in when you watch us play. And that's what makes it so easy for players to step in and have success here. You've seen Pablo doing well here this year, Tony doing well as he come in, as the other guys do. You know, it's really a testament to our coaching staff and the group that's been around for a decent amount of time now.
Justin, some of us in the media are blessed and fortunate to have a ballot to fill out at the end of this season where we've got to name our awards. And I mean, it's no surprise to anybody, but I'm writing Alejandro Pozuelo next to my MVP award. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of your own analysis on what you've seen from him. I know it's your second season now playing with him, but it almost seems like last season was good, but it almost seems like he's taken another gear up. We see it on the field. You're with him every day. What's it like being around a player like that on and off the field?
Yeah, Alejandro's, I think his skills and stats speak for themselves. I don't think I have to speak about that anymore. I think the bigger thing for me is his personality and how good it is and how important it is for our team. You know, having DPs that always want to play, always want to be on the field, that want to win day in, day out are so important for the success of any club. And he is that. He's got a really good way with the guys. He's serious when he needs to be. He's joking when he at other times, and his personality just clicks and fits really well with the rest of the guys. So he's been a really good addition for us, and obviously one of the key factors in our success.
Is there one eye on Philly in New England on Sunday, or is it just do your own job and see what happens?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, these days are fun when everyone's playing at the same time. When everything is on the line in the biggest moments, it doesn't happen so often, especially when it comes down to the very end, like it has this year, with two teams fighting for the trophy on the last day. It's going to be a special day and a day that a lot of Toronto FC fans will remember for a long time to come.
I was just looking up here because sometimes my mind plays tricks on me, but it was every time TFC plays the New York Red Bulls, of course, we can't not talk about the Justin Morrow hat trick.
Right? That's right.
What a day that was.
Yeah, I thought about that as well. You know, playing the Red Bulls for the Supporters Shield back in 2017 and ending the way that did. Incredible moments, you know, the only hat trick of my professional career, moments that I'll never forget for a lifetime. Those are the stories that you tell the children and the grandchildren when it's all said and done. Just incredibly grateful to be a part of that team in that moment in history, in Toronto FC's history.
Just Googling that now, the first headline that comes up is Morrow hat trick leads TFC to first Supporters Shield. That might not happen at the weekend, I'm guessing.
Hey, you had some chances recently on that left-hand side. And you playing like left striker. You had like three. You could have had a hat trick in the first half, mate.
Yeah, I need to polish off my striker boots there and get some of those shots on goal. But it was fun being higher up in the field, man. You guys know that I love that always.
I will say, though, just for the record, I did have a dream a couple of nights ago that Philly were going to be losing and their game finishes and it's stoppage time and TFC are trailing at Red Bull Arena and Quentin Westberg comes up and scores the goal that wins the Supporters Shield for TFC. So I just want that on record in case for some reason at the weekend that happens. That was something I had a dream about. Maybe more realistic as a Morrow hat trick. We'll wait and see. But thanks for joining us, Justin. Really appreciate your time. And we spoke to Ali Curtis a couple of weeks ago about fans like it, or fans should like it and appreciate it when clubs stand for something and they stand for values and they see their players standing for values that they value. So I think a lot of TFC fans would like to pass on their appreciation for what you do and for what your team has done in standing up for things, not just performing on the pitch, but performing off it as well this season. So thanks for doing everything that you're doing.
Amen.
Justin Morrow with us.
Yes, thank you guys. Proud to do it in our city is in Toronto.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Justin. All the best.
Let you get back to your ping pong tournament or whatever it is that's going on this afternoon, the ball hockey, I don't know, there in Hartford. The end of the season is fast approaching. What the players have been through is incredible in terms of being away from their families and everything they've had to go through on top of dealing with COVID and the changes that has brought in terms of the schedule this season. And then you see someone like Justin Morrow and everything else that he has had to deal with as well on top of all of this. It's quite incredible, Stevie. I mean, you would know as a player, a lot of players say that they are just 24/7 fully focused on the game and when's the next game and what's happening and preparing for that game. Sometimes there are bigger things that need to be dealt with. But that also creeps into, players are very superstitious or whatever it is in terms of the way you do things, very regimented. But that must have been thrown up in the air completely this season for someone like Justin, who has had so much to be doing.
Yeah, first of all, I think that mentality of just doing your job and being a football player is long gone. It's a bygone era to just think that that's the only thing you can do. More than an athlete's a slogan that gets branded around often these days, thanks to these incredible athletes, and it's because they realise that they can use their profile and their platform to do more for themselves, to do more for other people, whether it be philanthropic or creating some other form of support for anybody. So I think that the work that Justin Morrow and many other athletes are doing is just a sign of the times, and I credit them for it. And they've been incredible at it. But KJ, the thing that athletes have, maybe more than most people in the world, is the mental resilience to just focus on, they really have a clear idea how to distinguish things and put them into compartments and really get themselves prepared to just go out there and perform and to do something that gives a lot of people in the world joy. And, I credit them for that, because even being an athlete myself and then being a bit detached from that for, I don't know, it's about 5 or 6 years now.
You're still an athlete, really. You're still an athlete at heart. I mean, I've seen you run to the buffet and, the free TSN meal.
Into it. You can see what effort you put into, being that focused and resilient. And so, I'm in awe. The credit to them, the way that they go about it is phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm in awe too. And the drive and the internal desire to get where they needed to become as an athlete is similar to the drive to what Justin is doing with the other things. And what he accomplishes on the field every day is important for the club that he works for the fan bases, the people who watch the show, for his own professional career and a legacy, if that's important. Some people say it is, some people it's not. It depends whether you're interested in that stuff. And there's no right or wrong answer. Those things are all important for himself to do that. But the other stuff it comes with compassion for others as well. And he just uses that drive that he's got to do that with the other thing. And for me, just putting a bow on it from a Toronto FC point of view is, when you have, it's not athletes, it's not footballers, it's when you have human beings like that, you have to do everything you can to keep all of those guys, because they're culture setters. They're the culture setters for business in life. And that's what, you have people like that doing that. Then you have other people who are not necessarily playing, but okay, he's talking about what he's talking about now with Pinball Clemens, who's another one like that, and Masai and Ali Curtis. These guys, the drive that they're standing for something that is more important than winning football matches in the end. And that's back to what we've talked about a lot on this show, and the morals and values of what you have in life, and then putting a smile on your face and making a difference. And then you can still go and deliver as well and being a soccer player. And it's absolutely wonderful to see, and it's making a difference in people's lives. And ultimately, that's what we all want to do.
Just finally on the show, and it ties in quite well with talking about making a difference, because we talked a few weeks ago about Ayo Akinola and that story that he put, what he's fought through to get to where he is right now. the TSN Sports Center story. Io Akinola is our Benjamin Moore do-it-yourself play of the game to finish the show this week. TFC against Miami last weekend. They're trailing as they come into that second half. And we've seen before what Io Akinola is capable of using the strength that he has got. But every different aspect of this play, using that strength to beat the defender, but the way he brought it down, Stevie, and then the cool, calm, the thought that went into the finish as well, just tucking it into the corner there. And I know you want to give credit to the second best number 13 in TFC history as well, Patrick Mullins, for the part he played in this. But just fantastically worked goal.
Changed the game, didn't it? Just changed the whole mentality, the whole outlook of the game. Just one moment of just incredible strength and skill and awareness, getting a ball into the box. It just shows you, you get the balls into the box, things happen. And when you've got a guy like that, he just changed the game in an instant, KJ, through a moment of genius. And he was quiet. And this is one of the key attributes of Akinola, is that he can be very quiet in a game. We've saw it with the guys like Shearer and I guess less so an Henry, but an Aguero or a real finisher can be doing nothing. And they can burst into life in one instance with a moment of quality. And that was that, wasn't it? And it gave TFC the platform to go in and win the 3 point.
I think that's a really good point you mentioned there. And that is down to, again, internal confidence. And, some people would say, I need to touch the ball. I'm not getting in the game. I can't get in the game here. I've got nothing for 35 minutes, 40 minutes. Others just say, just let me get the ball eventually and I will make a difference. And that's what TFC missed when he's not on the field, or Josie Altidore at his full peak. And when they're not on the field, we can talk about tactics and whoever you're playing there, or Mullins as a 9, or Pozuelo's false 9, all of it. It doesn't matter. You haven't got that number 9. You haven't got that difference maker who can change a game like that. And that's the patience already that he's showing at 20. It's a really good sign. The game slows down at the crucial moment for him. That ball comes over, he touches it. He doesn't rush it. The second touch off his chest is just as important as the first one. Sets himself up to play the ball and past the goalkeeper. He's been an absolute more than a lifeline for TFC, because without Josie Altidore this season again, and it's allowed Greg Vanney to get the best out of the aforementioned MVP Alejandro Pozuelo in better positions, because he hasn't played him there, because Akinola for the most part has played in that position, and it's been enormous for TFC.
TFC heading into decision day against the Red Bulls on Sunday. We'll have it covered for you on TSN, not just the TFC game, but everything else that is happening around Major League Soccer. We'll see you next Friday for Footy Talks as we wrap up decision day and look ahead to the playoffs. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks,
as always.
everybody. Be safe.